It means a lot to me. It's a lot of what CJ and I have accomplished together. And I'll tell you just a little bit about myself and my background and how we came to get matched. I'm originally born in Canada. I'm from Toronto. And my family moved to Germany when I was young, and I grew up in Germany. And there I did training as a pastry chef and confectioner. And I came back to Canada in my early 20s, went through a lot of hard times, experienced poverty and all these types of things myself. And then fast forwarding to kind of present day, about 8 years ago, I moved to Decatur, Illinois with ADM. And I'm a bakery application scientist for ADM, for Archer Daniels Midland. In the facility where I work, there's a little grade school that used to be there right next door to us, and Big Brothers came in and they were doing a presentation on things about the program and stuff, and looking for lunch buddy mentors. My wife and I had long been giving our charity donations primarily to agencies to do with children, and we had interest in Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and kind of wanted to give back to the community because we had such a warm welcome when we moved to Decatur as well. And so that was when I got to meet CJ. CJ was 9 going on 10 in 4th grade, struggling with English and math, potentially at risk of failing. And basically it was identified as a child facing adversity and needing help. And so they matched him up with me, and we very quickly figured out that food was the thing that we had in common. And so this evolved into our lunches together, and where I would bring burgers or sandwiches, and the burgers were usually for something really special. Right? And we had a really good time, and we'd sometimes play Uno or other board games, or a lot of basketball. I mean, you know, go play basketball with a bunch of 10-year-olds on your lunch break, you know, you really can't beat it, right? So we had a really good time. And one time at lunch, we were talking about careers and things for the future, and asking CJ what he wanted to be. And at that time, he said he wanted to be president. This was shortly after the election of Barack Obama. And so we're kind of like, well, that's a really big set of responsibilities, and then it's like, but why do you want to be president, right? Because he makes a lot of money. So we said, well, you know, you can make a lot more money in private industry, you know, if you get yourself an education. So he didn't object or argue, and I quickly learned that he listens and pays attention and starts to absorb things, and he kind of digests information, and all of a sudden, later on, he's going to surprise you. And so it was a few months later, he started telling me, I'm going to be an engineer. And I said, okay, great. Why are you going to be an engineer? Well, because engineers are good at math, and I like math, and they make a lot of money. So he started his career path early in that respect, right? So we spent a lot of time together doing all kinds of things. We had a lot of fun going on trips together, a lot of firsts for CJ. We took him on his very first train ride from Bloomington to Chicago. We took him, he loves cars, and this is another thing we found in common, and took him up to the auto show. We took him up to, he'd never really been in a building above the 2nd or 3rd floor, and so we took him up the Hancock Tower to the 94th floor for a dinner. And so it was just absolutely incredible. We had, and you know, we learned from his experiences that way too, and had a lot of fun with him, and did a lot of different projects and things together. And one of the things that sort of stands out for me a lot, and that is sort of where a lot of our relationship was gelling, and where I really sort of realized how much it was making a difference. And it's what I always refer to as Gene knows the blue bicycle story, right? And so I'd started riding bicycle with CJ, and got him a bike from my neighbor that we could ride together and stuff. And he had a bike of his own at home that he would like to ride around the neighborhood. And one day I was asking, so how are you enjoying your riding around the neighborhood too, and having a good time and things? And he's like, no, I can't ride, I got a flat tire. I said, well, let's take it over to my place, I'll show you how to fix a flat tire. And so we started doing that, and then he started talking about how he didn't really like the bike that much, because it was this beautiful metallic fuchsia pink. And somehow it didn't really fit that well for a boy of 12, right? And so I said, well, if you want a blue bike, I'll help you with it, but it's going to be a lot of work. It's not that simple. And so yeah, he really wanted to, and so we spent about 6 hours. I coached him on taking the entire bike apart, everything, breaking the chain, taking all the wheels and all the attachments off, sanding the whole thing down completely, and then he was spray painting it himself. You could see him hard at work there. 6 hours later, I said, buddy, we better get you home because Nikki's gonna wonder where the heck you are, right? You know, and he says, well, how long has it been? What time is it? I said, we've been at this for 6 hours. And he's like, really? I thought it was only like maybe 2 hours or so, right? So he was really having a good time, and he learned a lot, and he was very proud of his bike, and so this was something that he could ride around in his neighborhood, and he did it himself as a 12-year-old. He took it apart, he painted it, he put it back together again. And so it was giving him those skills and that confidence, right? The main thing that he got out of it is the confidence that he can do things, right? And so this is then a lot of other projects we did. We did the Pine Derby race cars. We built a mousetrap car. I helped him then with fixing his real car once he had his driver's license and all of that as well. And so it's so many different adventures, and we did all kinds of things from shooting arrows and stuff like that, and you saw maybe the intro picture was also some guitar playing, so we learned to play some guitar together, and you know, I gotta say, Bruno Mars has got to watch out because the girls just love him. He's cute and he can actually sing pretty good. So we basically learned how to play grenade together, and he really got into that, and so he enjoys guitar playing as well. I have an image of one of his birthdays, and he's just he's a great all-around kid. We tried a lot of different foods. Some of the things just could not get him over certain things like textures, with things like mushrooms or things like that. But he would try them. He would give us a chance, and he would try them. Some of the other things that I want to kind of mention here too is important is he's not with me here this evening, unfortunately. We've been in contact and chatting and things, and we're trying to get a video to work, but we couldn't get it worked out. And the reason he's not here is that I'm actually no longer matched with CJ because he's turned 18. He's no longer in the program, and he's in college now. He's a freshman at Graceland. Almost made it. Now this is his high school graduation. He graduated cum laude, gold delta. The cum laude means he has a greater than 3.5 GPA. He graduated with a 3.65. The gold delta is that he excelled in 2 of his ISAT scores, the 2 that he was failing in when I met him in 4th grade, English and math. So he's studying computer sciences at a small university in Graceland, and he has, as the expression goes, a full ride. For his first year at least. So the next years we have to still work out, but he's on a football scholarship, and he's got the President's Scholarship, and he's got another scholarship for his grades, and so on, and there was just some book money that his parents had to come up with, and I helped him out with a little bit, some bonuses for... That is our visit to the campus on visit day in March of last year, and in August we drove him out there to move him in, and so he's been having a great time ever since. Whenever I ask him, you know, how are things going? Is everything okay? His response is always, "I love it here." So he's doing really well. He just finished midterms exams, and he's all B's and 1C in his midterms. So he's continued to keep his there he is with his friends at a football game. He's injured right now, so he can't play, but so he's there with a bunch of friends. So I can't stress how important it is. I've gotten so much out of it, as you can tell. True friendships are made. In 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I ended up going through emergency open heart surgery. My aorta dissected, the ascending aorta, and they really didn't think I was going to survive. But the thing was, I woke up in ICU, and once I'd come to a little bit and things like that, then my wife was telling me a few hours later that there was a phone call for me, and so the first phone call I got was from CJ. A friend of mine saw my wife's post on Facebook and told his grandfather, and his grandfather told him, and he called me right away. So, you know that you're building a relationship, and you're not just somebody who's helping out a kid. So they're long-lasting relationships, for sure, for life. And I don't think he will succeed. I know he will. He's got the courage and the smarts, and he will do it. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming here and seeing.
Let's hear it from Mark. What an incredible story. Yeah, stand. That's all right. That's what it's all about.